Yeah, 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 yeah. Hey.
Stutter, my brother, what's happening?
Hey, fantasy, it's session. We talking touchdowns, receptions, interceptions. They got a band and kicker, we need that correction. Swap them out, we flexing. How many of y'all you collect? We trying to get that winning record. Fantasy, it's session.
Yeah.
What up, though?
Yeah, we back.
What it is, hope it's what it should be. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy in Session, the podcast. Today is October the 19th, and the boys are back in
We
town.
just went into the DeLorean.
What's the DeLorean?
Not October 19th.
What is today? November 19th. November 19th.
DeLorean
November
is
19th.
that was their car in Back to the Future, bro.
Never seen it.
I've
never seen Back to the Future.
Wait, whoa! Stop playing.
I mean, I see bits and pieces of it, bro. Don't let my brother hear this shit because he will be so.
I
mad.
mean, I got the gist of it.
You
Like
see-
some white
you
man
seen
took
Back to
another
the
young
Future?
white boy back to the future and did some. I
That
don't know.
movie. No, I seen all on.
They got some Nike shoes that came out. I got the gist of it. Anyway, man, wherever you listen to this at, make sure you subscribe, like the podcast. Wherever you listen to the podcast at, go to Apple Music, YouTube, like and subscribe. We're on the way to 200. I just witnessed live in person the Falcons getting demolished last night.
Gross.
That shit was crazy.
Gross, bro. And it was like I was expecting us to get our ass beat, bro, but it's crazy. Like you gotta be pretty talented to like me coming in with no expectations and you still failing to meet them, bro. Like that shit was crazy. I was disgusted after that.
We haven't
bro.
scored a touchdown in what, 8 quarters? It's something sick like
and
that.
it's crazy,
Probably,
bro,
I
because
think
we all knew. The thing that gets me is we all knew that Belichick was going to do everything in his power to limit Kyle Pitts, bro. So as an offense, when you're game planning this game, why would you just go out here and line Kyle Pitts up in the same traditional fucking stance, bro? It's no motion, bro.
He was out wide though.
Nothing that, bro. It's no motion, bro. When if you just line up in your spot, bro, you give a defense a chance to like set up, bro. Like, bro, you see all these creative like offensive minds, bro. Their best players are. Look at Debo Samuel, bro. He's always in motion. He's getting freaking running back carries and shit. Like Jonnu Smith getting running back carry. Like you get your playmakers the ball by any means necessary, bro. They were just like, fuck it, bro. They're gonna stop him, bro. We probably not gonna win this game anyway.
It was almost like they mailed it in, like they.
Yeah, bro. Like that shit's so annoying, bro. Like what the fuck, bro? Like you just shit's.
I don't know, man. I think for the Falcons this year, bro, it ain't looking good for us. I'm over it. I think the team is over it. Nobody, you can't start anybody fantasy wise on the Falcons anymore. I think until Cordell Patterson come back. I mean, you have to start Kyle Pitts because you have to, but I don't even like Kyle Pitts anymore. But not this year.
If really plays,
he's still gonna have his games though. Right. It's just he's a rookie at the end of the day. So and then when people are able to game plan to stop him, and
the only person there.
It ain't even that,
creatively, bro.
It ain't even that, bro. When your offensive line just get free passes, so.
But that's the thing that motion can help with, bro. When you putting players in motion and shit, bro, you're throwing them off, bro. Like you're not just coming up to the line and running up to the line and snapping the ball, which is what they were doing, bro. That motion helps hide your offensive line problems, bro, and they're not doing that shit. So
another thing I want to talk about just to get off the Falcons. On the other side of the ball, Ramondre Stevenson the best running back in that backfield? I know Carlos had mentioned it before, but I mean, after last night, the week before, or do you think it was just
he's the best all around back? But the thing is, Damian Harris is very, very talented as well, especially running between the tackles. He's probably not as good as him pass catching, but they're gonna. We saw yesterday they're still gonna trust Damian Harris to handle a lot of the workload. So, the emergence of Stevenson just limits the ceiling of Damian Harris. So, because he's not getting no targets like that anyway, so he's gonna be like a borderline running back 3 with this usage.
I mean,
they was like switching drives, like they were like alternating drives pretty much last night.
You think it's because it was Thursday, or you think that's just how it's going to look going forward?
Some of it was Thursday. Some of they always want to split this backfield touches. They always want to share touches around. So
not to that extent.
I'm not.
They were legit alternating drives.
Yeah, but that like Gay said, I think that's more predicated Thursday.
Yeah, he was coming off the concussion. You know what I mean? Maybe he's trying to work him back into the offense. He didn't kill you,
game, bro.
Yeah, for sure.
David Harris,
he didn't kill you. He still had 7 points. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean. Could have sunk you, but if you started Ramondre Stevenson, he probably did good for you, man. My fucking
Stevenson had about 7 too. He ain't scoring no touchdown either.
He had a couple plays called back on holding too.
Yeah, he had some good plays. My fucking drunk ass get all the way down to the game talking about not starting Cordell Patterson, and guess who leave him in 2 lineups? This guy.
Damn, bro. Come on, man. Going to the game, bro. You should know this. Like, bro, let me set my lineups before.
I did, but it was like game time.
Let's not even start here.
Why would you even admit that?
Every week he starts somebody on bye.
We can't do that.
No, I don't start nobody on bye. It just be like they be out. It's only the same culprits, fucking DeAndre Hopkins and Kyle
like at the beginning of the week, I just go in and sit them on the bench. Like DeAndre Hopkins, he played last week. He ain't in my starting lineup this week until I get some news. Like that's how I just run it, because you gonna forget it. It happens, bro.
Yeah, man. I do a lot of extracurriculars. I think that's it, man, for the Patriots game. Mack Jones, I mean, he did.
That's all we want to talk about, really. There's
nothing really to write home about.
Yeah, Mack Jones continues to ball the fuck out, bro. I think this is the first rookie in history to have a 80+% completion percentage in 2 straight games.
22 for 26.
Man, he's like I say, he's looking good, great in real life. Of course, it's not translating to fantasy, but
motherfuckers couldn't stop a nosebleed last night, bro.
It's wild, bro. They really do have that quarterback of the future. He's like a legit Patriots quarterback, bro. You can just tell, bro.
Fucking Bill Belichick is like, yes. Y'all think the Panthers can sneak into the playoffs? I'm not as high as on Cam as everybody else. I'm not as high on that Cam juice, but I think that
it's possible. Everybody in the NFC over there with the Eagles and Giants and Washington, the Panthers better than them. So they can. I think they can. It's possible they can sneak in.
They were never like out of it anyway. They knew they got off to that hot start, and then they kind of fell off a little bit. But they're only like a game or 2 out of it. I want to say right now, so they definitely sneak in.
The defense will keep him alive for sure. Do y'all rather kiss a moose ass or a moose butt or a cow butt?
Neither.
That's funny though. Let me give a moment of silence out to all the Black Kings and Queens out there, man. Yeah, I ain't gonna go too deep into it. This ain't that type of podcast, but y'all seen the news. It's Dolph, and we back. Still rest in peace, Dolph. Every day, all day. Let's get into some of the news and notes, man. There's been a crazy amount of news and notes since the last time we potted. Let's go. Claypool's practiced in full. He's not on the injury report. That's good news. Chris Carson is out probably for the rest of the season with that neck injury. Alvin Kamara.
He is out.
Yeah, he probably is like about to retire. This probably might be over for you, boy. Alvin Kamara is officially out for Sunday's game. So they fired Mark Ingram again. We got the breaking news right before we went on that Amari Cooper got diagnosed with the COVID. I'm not sure if he got vaccinated or what's going on with that, but he'll be out possibly next week too. So that's just news for all that. All the Cowboys owners. Michael Gallup, yeah. 49ers, Elijah Mitchell with that finger. He's doubtful to play on Sunday. So if you have him be looking to pivot, do y'all want any other 49ers back?
Jeff Wilson Jr. season. Lego.
I'll take a flyer.
We got that game this episode,
right? Yeah.
All right, so I'll save it. We'll save it. Bateman is not on the injury report, and Jones is out as expected. CH had a good week of practice. He's likely to play on Sunday. McNichols ruled out.
Not likely. I don't know. He didn't commit to it, and then had that report come out saying that they might keep him out until after the bye.
Yeah,
so something to monitor.
The Gronk is expected to play. Cam Newton is officially the starter. DeAndre Hopkins is officially out this week. Kyler Murray is a game time decision. He definitely progressed. They saying that he, hopeful to play. So we'll see. Ricky Seals-Jones Jr. is out. Curtis Samuel is questionable. He might get some playing time. Saquon Barkley is on route to play. Dallas Goedert got a big contract extension, and he is good to go on Sunday. I think that is it. Nick Chubb returned to practice today after COVID. Jared Goff did throw in practice, but they're looking to pivot on Sunday if they can. I think no signs of AB at practice. They do play on Monday, so keep your hopes up for that.
He's not playing.
All right. Well, Carlos said he's not playing.
Yeah.
And Allen Robinson, he out.
Yeah, Allen Robinson. That's why I meant to say that.
He's out officially.
Well, he's doubtful. I want to say.
Yeah, I want to say he's doubtful. He didn't practice today, so.
Yeah.
The Falcon game was bad. Yeah, man, we went over that already.
Not trying to relive it.
Yeah, you guys like Jeff Wilson. Also, how long is Mitchell out for? Well, it's a finger, so I'm not sure how long he's out. We're about to get into the first game. I think the 49ers are the first game on the docket, so we'll tell you how we feel about that then. So just stick on to the podcast. Appreciate you for always swinging through, my boy.
Just get ear to the streets on Mitchell. How long he'll be out? Nah, yep.
Nah, yep.
All right, man. Let's get to the what the people are here for. The best game by day breakdown in the fantasy land. We got what's the first game? Damn, we just went over this too. My bad, y'all.
San Fran and Jacksonville.
San Francisco 6-point favorites at Jacksonville, over under 45 points. We just talked about the running back situation out there, so I guess that's what the people want to hear. So, how you feel about that backfield, Los? What you think? What you doing right there?
Well, I think Jeff Wilson automatically becomes a top 20 play at least with Mitchell out. That they want to run the ball. They're like top 10 in team rushes per game with 27. And then, of course, you have Jermichael Hasty out. So it's just going to be him and Jeff Wilson and Trey Sermon, who we know that Shanahan pretty much hates at this point. So Jeff Wilson is expected to be the workhorse. And, he got on the field last week, but that was like his first game action all year. He only had 10 carries for 28 yards. But if you remember last year, he had a few games sprinkled in where, it was injuries in front of him, and he was the workhorse. And I know down the stretch, the last 3 games, he finished as an RB1 all 3 weeks. So we know what the 49ers want to do. They want to run the ball. They want to limit how much Jimmy G has to throw. And with them being 6-point favorites, man, I think he's a smash play this week. So definitely starting Jeff Wilson this week. Other obvious plays for the 49ers, Deebo Samuel, of course, and George Kittle. And Brandon Ayuk is a fringe play for me. They have a low passing volume for the 49ers, and Jimmy G's 7 full games, he has thrown the ball 30 times or less in each game. Kittle's back, of course, and Deebo's commanding a 30% target share. So it's just not too much meat left on the bone for Ayuk to really get going like that. I do think he could be started like as a low end flex play because he has been on the field for at least 88% of the snaps in his last 3 weeks. And the matchup isn't bad with the Jags either. They're allowing the 14th most points to wide receivers. So he'll be on the field. The volume is a concern, though. I'm not really expecting him to get too much volume. So he's going to be volatile if you do decide to start him. So just be aware of that. Jimmy G, I just think it's going to be a rushing game as long as they can control the clock like they did last week. If they could do it to the Rams, I think they could do it to Jacksonville. So we know what their game plan is. So I just think his ceiling is too low to start in 1 QB leagues, 2 QB leagues. He's fine as a QB2.
I like Jimmy G.
You like him this week?
I mean, you say his ceiling is low, but we've seen. I think his ceiling right now over the last 4 weeks, where he's like the quarterback 2 or 3 right now. I mean,
I'm not sure over the last 2 or 3 weeks. He has been playing pretty good, but it's just the matchup. I'm just concerned about the matchup. I'm not expecting Jacksonville to really keep this game competitive. So they ran the ball like 44 times last week. So I mean, the passing volume was low last week. So unless he just keeps up that super efficiency, then I just don't see that ceiling for him. High floor though, so QB2. I mean, but are you starting him in QB1 leagues?
It depends on who my option, like him or Kirk Cousins. Like that was who the big guy was last week. So him or Kirk Cousins.
I would still start Cousins right there just because his ceiling I feel like is a little higher. That game does have a potential to be a shootout. We did talk about Kirk Cousins. I did come around on that. Like maybe you should fade him, but I wouldn't fade him for. If I'm fading him, I'm fading for him for somebody with a higher ceiling. And
Jimmy G over the last 2 weeks is the quarterback 3 on quarterback 3. Only behind.
I don't know how he did that last week.
Projected game script.
Right, he didn't do much last week, but
didn't have to be quarterback. What 2, 3?
He
top
threw the
5?
ball 19 times last week, so he could throw the ball again around 19, 20 times. And
somebody like Jalen Hurts, you can get away with that because he's gonna rush the ball. Like Jimmy G's not rushing the ball like that. So, like I said, if he can continue that super efficiency, then yeah, go for it, bro. But I think he's still gonna be volatile, especially in this projected game script with the Jaguars. But on to Jacksonville side, of course, you're starting James Robinson if he plays. Another start I have is Dan Arno. He's been like pretty much the top pass catcher for the Jaguars since arriving in week 5. Among all tight ends, he's 5th in targets, catches, and yards since he's joined the team. Also leads all Jags pass catchers in targets, yards, and yards per route. And he's finished as a top 12 tight end in 3 of his last 5 games. So he's easily the most preferred target for me or pass catcher for me on the Jags. The matchup is kind of tough, or it's really tough. They're allowing the fewest points to opposing tight ends, but with the volume that he's been seeing and they're projected to play from behind, I think he'll be fine. So I'm starting him as a tight end 1 this week. Sitting Trevor Lawrence did have a stretch where he was giving you decent production, but he hasn't been consistent enough for me to trust him in 1 QB leagues. 32nd in adjusted completion percentage, 25th in yards, 25th in touchdowns, 4th most interceptions, middle of the pack in end zone throws. So they're not making it to the end zone enough for him to be, throwing it out there. And he's only giving you 19 rush yards a game, so he doesn't really have that rushing floor for you either. So he's better off on your bench this week in 1 QB leagues. Jaguars receivers, I will prefer not to play any of these guys, man, because it's been like a roulette, pretty much how we used to describe the 9 Tyreek pass catchers for the Chiefs. It's 1 week it's Marvin, 1 week it's Agnew, 1 week it's Dan Arno. Well, Dan Arno's been pretty consistent, but in terms of receivers, it seems like they all like switch. Whoever gets the touchdown is the one who's gonna finish best. If I had to rank them, it would probably be Jones, Agnew, and Shenault. Because since week 5, when Agnew pretty much started to get run out there, Marvin Jones leads the receivers in routes, yards, receiving grade, and tied for 1st in targets. But he only had 1 usable weeks over the last 5 games and finished as wide receiver 52 or worse in the other 4 games. So not looking to start him. Agnew has been the most productive since week 5, finishing as a top 20 receiver in 2 of his last 3 games and a top 36 in 3 of his last 4. So, and he has the best matchup. So, I guess it's between Jones and Agnew, man. But like I said, I wouldn't try to force any of these guys in your lineup. But maybe for DFS, you could take a shot on one of them. And that's it.
I just wouldn't force it with none of those Jaguar receivers.
All on desperate plays for me, my boy. Like, if Agnew ain't get that long touchdown, you wouldn't even be talking about him right now. Right.
But that's it from that game.
Yep.
We got a question. Who wins this trade? Jonathan Taylor and Cooper Kupp, Kyle Pitts for CMC, Devontae Adams in Dallas. I don't know, Dallas, like the Seattle Dallas. Oh, Dallas Goddard.
Yeah. I think it's about
the same thing.
It's about even.
I think it's y'all just switch players around. I think it's the same thing.
But I like the
Taylor side if I had to choose one.
I feel like I was about to say I feel like I like the Taylor side, but once CMC get back up and running, it's gonna be damn near even. Taylor get the receptions, but I feel like CMC more dangerous with the receptions and probably gonna get more.
With CMC. I mean, with Cam, that's what I'm gonna say.
And Devontae Adams gonna be more force fed than Kupp. And Dallas.
You never know when OBJ
I don't know
gets
about that.
acclimated. After OBJ gets acclimated, you never. I don't know.
I mean, he's probably not gonna get more of a more volume than Woods was seeing. So I think his role is solidified this year, bro.
Are the Panthers the best defense in the league? I don't know, probably so.
Panthers best.
No.
Nah, them Bills and Chargers.
yeah.
Bills and Chargers going crazy. And
No, the Chargers can't. The Chargers can't.
just see,
Not the Patriots. Yeah,
as
the
a
Patriots.
Falcons fan,
The Chargers can't
Patriots
stop
defense.
the run though, so they can't be the best. The Bills are doing both, so I think I kind of lean the Bills.
I mean, I don't want to be recent, but Patriots too. Their defense ain't nothing to play
Yeah, I do
with.
love the Patriots here. On to the next game. We got Detroit at Cleveland. Cleveland is 11.5 point favorites with an over/under of 43. We got Nick Chubb expected to be back. Baker Mayfield still hobbling out there. Possibly no Jared Goff. This could be an ugly game. It's expected to be low scoring. How you feel about this game?
I'm trying to stay away from as many people in this game as I can, man. Jared Goff or the backup quarterback, we don't know who's going to start. I won't start neither one of them that have really no receiving options to throw to. Even with the Bears allowing 21 points to quarterbacks, you can't trust any quarterback that starts for the line. DeAndre Swift is second on the team in targets with 63, right behind TJ Hawkinson at 65. So Swift is a every week starter. TJ Hawkinson has been held to 3 catches or less in 3 of his 9 games. In the other 6 games, he has seen at least 8 targets and scores 16.6 points in PPR tight end Premium League. So you start him every week.
Put up a donut last week though, but I think especially with the backup, I think I like him more.
Right. No, but that was 3 games out of 9. The rest of the 6 he came through. You know what I'm saying? So I take that little one donut if you're coming through. That's a good
percentage.
The
last 2 games, it ain't been. I mean, I have TJ Hawkinson on one of my teams, so it's not.
I have him too.
Yeah, he went out. I mean, he produced the last 2 of the 3 games. Just had a donut last week.
Yeah.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
So we know that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to run the ball. Like he only got 1 target. So
yeah. We see y'all questions. We ain't ignoring y'all. We got y'all. Go ahead.
I'm almost done with this game. Baker Mayfield, man, he has only attempted 21 passes in back-to-back weeks. He's battling multiple injuries, and the team wants to run the football, so his upside is limited. Even with the Colts middle in the pack and points allowing the quarterbacks, you sit in Baker. Chubb is back to run the show. The Lions are allowing the 3rd most points to running backs in PPR leagues. You starting your stud for sure. Wide receivers, I don't really trust any for the Browns. Landry is just a desperate play. You're right. He's just a desperate play, just a guy at the moment. The Lions are allowing the 8 field points to wide receivers, and Baker is throwing the ball under 25 times per game, so you can't trust any pass catcher for this team. That pretty much wraps up that game.
Easy peasy.
Shout out to JAC, man. Make sure you like and subscribe, man. We appreciate you for swinging through. Should I start Brandon Cooks or Terry McLaurin? Not crazy about McLaurin and Dante Johnson matchup. I was going to say the same thing. I think the easier matchup is Cooks, and he's going to be force-fed the ball. And I think Carolina is just the harder matchup. I mean, they'll probably score around the same, but if you have to choose one, I think Cooks is safer.
Yeah, Cooks has the highest floor just because of that target share that he's going to get. McLaurin's has been pretty much hit or miss this year. Like it's like no middle ground with him. So it just comes down to do you have a lot of high floor players in your lineup? Because if you do, then I would probably take the shot with McLaurin. Or if you have more players that like the Tyreek Hills, the hit or miss type players, I would go with Cooks for that stability because he's going to get at least a 28% target share this week. So.
Yeah. Especially, I like him even more with Tyrod Taylor back. Would y'all accept Sam Darnold to the Falcons? No, I don't want Sam Darnold. No. I like Matt Ryan. I'm a Matt Ryan fan. I don't think people like.
I would accept.
If they had an offensive line, nobody could stand back there. That shit was crazy. Like to see how short of amount of time he had to throw the ball is really crazy.
Even the running backs, every time a running back got the ball, they had to dance before they.
But Mike Davis is ass though. Homer Simpson, shout out to you, man. Make sure you like and subscribe. We appreciate you for asking your question. I was offered Carter and Debo for Kupp and Kirk. I got Taylor, McKissick as my current RBs, Henry 2, and I also have Jerry Jeudy starting. All right, so you'll be trading away Carter.
I like how you threw in Henry, bro.
You gotta let me. I lost a
I got
score.
the
team was
ghost of
fire.
Derrick Henry.
Right, my team was fire, bro, and then I lost Derrick Henry.
Just let you guys know how far my team was.
Yeah, I like it, bro. I think Carter is a good running back too. You say, and even better than having McKissick start every week. Yeah. And then Debo is a bona fide stud. He's sitting higher than a 20% share, so target share. So yeah, I accept it.
I like it.
Yeah, I think I would too.
Because you need a running back. You can't go with McKissick, especially with Antonio Gibson coming on now. If he's not hurt no more, like he had the most carries he had all year of his career or something shit like that last week. Yeah.
And I don't even. And Kirk has been so volatile and so not really trustworthy.
It's really just a 2-for-1.
That's what it looks like.
I like Kirk. Kirk's been pretty consistent actually, but
he definitely needs
he's not winning weeks. But.
Right. He definitely needs a running back. That's why I don't mind it. You definitely need a running back.
We got Hawkinson starting prey like Lockett or Mike Williams, or should I consider starting Dan Arno? I saw Dan Arno with the 5th in target since week 5, and Meyer needs CJ Henderson trade to look good. Oh, Urban Meyer. Okay, yeah. I do like Darren Arnold. We've been talking about Darren Arnold the last couple of episodes now. But I don't think I could start him over Hawk. I know he put up that donut last week, but like Javon and Lowe's both said, he hasn't been like inconsistent. It's just it's the tight end landscape. I mean, and I think especially like if we're going for that backup quarterback, if the backup quarterback is the starter, I feel like he's not going to have time to throw the ball to nobody but Hawkinson and Swift. So
before last week, in the last 3 games, he basically seen 10 targets per game. He's seen 11 in 2, and then in the third one he's seen 9, and then he had the donut. So you roll him out there, even with the other quarterback that we don't know his name. Even if he plays, man, I think you gotta start your stud.
Appreciate you for swinging. Stephen Drakes, man, what's up to you, homies? Make sure you like and subscribe to the podcast. We're on the way to 200 subscribers. We're trying to do a giveaway. I need 2: Collins, Jeff Wilson, Foreman, and Buccaneers and Panthers. So you need 2.
Jeff Wilson and Foreman for me. You got Jeremy McNichols out with the concussion.
Yep.
Collins getting the volume, man, but he's just his feel like his ceiling is like 6 points. So unless he gets a touchdown, he's not going to give you too much production. So Jeff Wilson, Foreman, and I will go.
Panthers defense.
Carolina's playing.
They play
Carolina's playing Washington. Bucks are playing Giants.
The Washington football team.
Yeah, I would play Panthers.
And I think they've been getting more turnovers lately too. Appreciate you for the question. I like Tannehill matchup against the Texans, but does Jalen Hurts' run floor make him a set and forget quarterback? Pretty much.
Does.
Yeah, I'm never it would take a lot, and especially I like Tannehill matchup, but they could very much run the ball all game, and I know the ball is never going to be out of just Jalen Hurts' hand too long. So. And, I like Jalen Hurts.
He had 100 rush yards against the Saints last year, so
for
I'm
sure.
Not too worried about the matchup.
Truly epic, man. Thank you for coming through. Make sure you like and subscribe. Aaron Rodgers or Tua, full PPR.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah,
I can't see
it.
I see what you're saying there, but don't force it.
Right, I can't live with me just starting Tua. If he scored 2 points less than Rodgers, I'm be mad. So, just start your stud.
Goddard, Knox, or Schultz for a tight end this week. I like Goddard. I don't like Schultz. I don't know. Amari Cooper being
out now, so his role might be there. Knox is the last person I would think about starting.
It goes Goddard, Schultz, Knox.
Schultz first for me.
Schultz first for you.
Just because of the Cooper being out this week. And the matchup against Kansas City, it's like a 56-point over-under, bro. 50, it's going to be points galore. I'm trying to get a piece of that game however I can.
Oh, yeah. All right, I go with that. Schultz, Goddard, Knox.
Appreciate you, truly.
Someone in my league is trying to buy low on Hawk by offering me no offense for him. Should I just consider it? Also, Goddard production. Is this Dynasty? Goddard's production increase. That's what I'm thinking. Like, he just got the money. Follow the money. Is this Dynasty or this just like regular? Like redraft? Dynasty, I think it's the same trade. Redraft, I think it's the same trade. I think I would probably keep Hawkinson because I think I would probably keep Hawkinson.
Really want Hawk? Let me get another piece too. Let me get a running back depth or wide receiver depth or something.
And Hawkinson is the number one in targets on his team.
And you just trading a tight end for a tight end. Like, if you're gonna make a trade to help yourself. It got to be a reason you trade. You can't just be trading for no reason. You
Carolina D. All right, last one. Carolina D or Arizona D this week. Arizona's playing
Carolina defense.
I like Carolina defense too.
Yeah, me too.
All right, let's get to the next game. Appreciate all the questions, man. We appreciate y'all for coming through. Shit, y'all done made me lose where I'm tracking my thoughts now.
Let me help you out, my boy.
Baltimore 4.5 point favorites at the Chicago Bears with an over/under of 44 points. We got Lamar Jackson. Of course, he's going to start him. He hasn't thrown as many touchdowns this year as we're used to seeing him. He's tied for 14th on the season with Jameis Winston and Teddy Bridgewater, only 14. He's almost to 1,000 yards on the ground, so that's a great thing for him. Marquis Hollywood Brown has double-digit targets in 4 of the last 5 games. 3 of those games, he's had over 80 yards, and the Bears are giving up the 4th most fantasy points to wide receivers on the year. Mark Andrews, of course, he's a starter, the number 2 tight end in PPR leagues. And since week 6, he has 9 red zone targets. That's tied for most among tight ends. The Bears are giving up middle of the pack fantasy points to the tight end, but it's Mark Andrews that I think the volume will carry him through. There's not many Baltimore sits for me, a couple of fringe players. I got Devonta Freeman. He somehow ended up the last man standing in that backfield. Murray's still dealing with that injury. I think is he going to play? I haven't seen too much about him.
He's been practicing all week, so I think he's listed as questionable.
I still like Devonta Freeman as a fringe player. He has found the end zone in 3 of the last more sits for me. 3 of the last 4 games he's played out of the last 2 weeks. He's played 60% of the snaps. The Bears are allowing 128 yards on the ground per game, and they're giving up 23 points to the running back position since week 6. And I like any running back getting double-digit targets in that backfield. Rashad Bateman, he's also a fringeable player for me. Bateman, 27 targets since week 6. He's only 5 targets behind Hollywood. He hasn't reached the end zone this year, but he is tied with Hollywood since week 6, pretty much when he came on with 4 red zone targets. Like I said, Lamar Jackson is not throwing as many touchdowns as we used to him throwing, so that's be a thing. I mentioned the Bears are giving up the 4th most fantasy points to the wide receivers. This week's matchup, he will be matched up against. He's matched up against Johnson, who's graded a 59 by PFF. So I think Bateman has a safe floor in PPR leagues. How do you feel about that?
I like it, man. He's finished as at least a top 36 receiver in his last 3 games. So he's definitely involved. Sammy Watkins is non-existent now. So it's basically just him, Marquis, and Mark Andrews. So I like him.
I like him as your wide receiver 3 every week.
David Montgomery came back in week 9 for the first time since week 4. Pretty much killed all that Khalil Herbert noise. That was crazy. It was a rough game. He touched the ball 15 times and got 80 yards, and he didn't find the end zone. The Ravens since week 6 are giving up the 4th fewest fantasy points to the running back position, only allowing 73 yards per game on the ground. They have, however, allowed 44 yards receiving, so Montgomery could find a little success there. But I'll just temper my expectations with him, but he's going to get the volume, so I think he has a safe enough floor to still start him. Clanette, I think you can start him, has 25 targets since week 6. He's really beginning to show that potential that we wanted to see. He has only had less than 6 targets once in this since week 6. The downside is that he hasn't reached the end zone, but he does lead the team in red zone targets since week 6. So it's only a matter of time before that regression happens and he reaches the end zone. So I do like him. The Ravens are allowing the 5th most fantasy points to the tight end since week 6. So I like it. 7 most yards to the position over that span too. A couple fringe players. I know a lot of people talking about Justin Fields this week with the back-to-back QB1 weeks. Many of that is due to the fact that he finally decided to use his legs. In the last 4 games, he has had 229 rushing yards and 1 touchdown. That's 3rd among QBs in that span. The Ravens have been pretty strong over the last 5 games, only giving up the 6. Oh, they haven't been that strong over the last 5 games, giving up the 6 most fantasy points to the quarterback position. But that is because a lot of the quarterbacks are throwing against him. They're averaging giving up 278 yards per game in that span. But he did put up almost a 300 burger last week, 291 yards. So it could be, it could be in his future. Baltimore has allowed the 3rd fewest fantasy points, 3rd fewest rushing yards to the quarterback position on the year. So if he does expect to use his legs, I think they probably practice against Lamar Jackson all the time. So I think they're probably ready for that. Allen Robinson is out, so I already wrote him up, so that doesn't even matter anymore. Cool story. Darnell Mooney, though, he was a fringe player, but I think you can start him because he's going to have to throw the ball somewhere, and that is his favorite target to throw to. He's been practicing in limited capacity due to that foot injury, though, so that is something to be aware of. But he's had 28 targets since week 6, and he had 2 touchdowns in that span, and he has a pretty great matchup. So I do like them. That's all I got for that game.
Man, I know he's like injured this week, bro, but even before he got injured, man, like something that stuck with me in the offseason was that, and I brought it up a couple times on the show about that study that JJ Zacharyson did about when rookie quarterbacks come in, like they historically only handle like 1 fantasy relevant receiver, bro, and like we see it, like this is like the proof of that, like being true. So definitely something to keep in mind going forward, bro. If it's a rookie quarterback coming in projected to start, man, just know it's one of those guys is going to be irrelevant, bro. So just thought that was interesting.
I like it too. JAC says again, what's James Conner's value when Chase Edmonds returns? I don't know. He was kind of taking the touchdowns before Chase Edmonds when Chase Edmonds was there. So I think he still is the touchdown hog, and Chase Edmonds goes back to Chase Edmonds role. You know what I'm saying? Get you a touchdown maybe one more time this year.
I think he come back. He goes back. I mean, he goes back more to being touchdown dependent because Chase Edmonds was against, some of the touches that was salvaging. He was just really touchdown dependent. Without those touchdowns, you really wouldn't have been starting him. So that's what he goes back to when Chase Edmonds returns.
Should I expect anything else from Chris Carson? Nope. I don't even think he comes back this year. It's a neck injury.
No, he is on season-ending IR, so he's definitely not coming back this year.
Boss man, Fat. What up, brother? Amari Cooper is out this week. That's a bet. Should I start Rashad Bateman or Cole Beasley?
I think you start Beasley with Knox back and Beasley battling this rib injury. He played 16% of the snaps last week. So I think you just got to go with the safe play. Bateman. And Bateman not going to kill you or anything. He's going to be
the injury does make it a little easier because matchup-wise, man, Beasley has a gravy matchup this the week out of the slot, bro. But, yeah, last week he didn't do shit for you, so, yeah.
He didn't play.
I don't even know how to
he played 16% of the snaps.
Oh, he got hurt during the game. Gotcha.
Yeah. No, he got. I think it's like a recurring injury. He got hit in the ribs in Miami. It's been recurring, but he went off in back-to-back games out to Miami. But now it's hurting. So look out for Gabriel Davis.
I don't know how to. Nano. I think that's what's that? Itachi? Is that Itachi in it? I don't know, but appreciate you for coming through, man, with all your questions, man. Come back through, man. Subscribe, like the podcast so you know every time we go live.
Welcome to the session.
Or hit us up on Twitter. We answer all the questions whenever. Need help.
Or check our rankings. Check our rankings.
Either or. Pittman and Ingram or JJ or no. Oh, for JJ. I was going to say there's a whole bunch of orders. Okay. Pittman and Ingram for JJ. Or no, JJ
comes down to if you need. For me, it comes down to if you need a running back for this week because Ingram is going to be the workhorse this week. So if you're good at running back, I would rather keep Justin Jefferson.
No,
But Pittman is not too much of a drop off. So I would it just depends on what you need. If you need a running back, yeah.
I think he traded Pittman and Ingram for JJ.
Yeah.
I think he'll be getting JJ.
He'll be getting JJ.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Like Ingram is only good for a week. I know they're close in season ranked on what they've been producing, but I just feel like JJ has more upside and then a better offense, I guess. Better offense for now.
Gotcha.
Yep.
I just feel like if he's pondering that trade, it's because he needs a running back. So it just depends on.
I mean, what are you gonna do the week after?
Yeah, what are you gonna do with
that? Fantasy is a weekly game, bro. If you need a win this week and you need a running back, you get this top 20 play plus Pittman, and you go from there. That's how I approach it.
The Washington football team at the 3.5-point favorite Carolina Panthers, a 43-point over under. We got Cam starting
He's back
for the first time for the Panthers in a long time. So, everybody's on the Cam Newton train. I don't feel as strongly about it. How do you feel about it?
I like it just for the reason why we like all rushing quarterbacks is their cheat code in fantasy. Last week, fresh off the street, pretty much, he came in and had 2 touchdowns. One was a rushing on his first play. So I love Cam Newton this week, and he gets to have his first full start against Washington.
I love most
points against quarterbacks. So definitely like him this week. He might be a little iffy for passing the ball, but I'm not too worried about that because we know he's going to run the ball, and he hasn't played football all year, so he's not going to be banged up or anything. He should be good to go. So like him as I have him ranked like top 15. So just depends on your other options, but he's one of the top streamers for me this week. Of course, you're starting CMC, DJ Moore. I'm still starting him. It's been a little shaky over the last few weeks. Started the year on fire. Weeks 1 through 4, he was the wide receiver 4.5 PPR, averaging 18.7 half PPR points. Since then, wide receiver 41 and averaging 7.2 half PPR points per game. I feel like a lot of that slump was mostly because Sam Darnold reminded us who he really was, Sam Darnold. So, with Cam coming in, I do think it can't be any worse than what Sam Darnold was doing for us. So I feel like if you have DJ, you're starting him, you're probably already tempering expectation, and I'm just, continuing to do that. And like I said, for Cam, like it applies to DJ Moore too. They're allowing the most points to quarterbacks, and they're also doing that for receivers. So I think he's in a great spot to bounce back. You also have Chase Young out for the year, so Cam should have plenty of time to find DJ out there. So like him. Robbie Anderson, man, I'm still not trusting him yet. I know he had that touchdown last week, and it's possible. I think he should definitely be on rosters now because hopefully Cam Newton can do more than what Sam Darnold was doing. But I'm not trusting him just yet this week. And I think that does it for the Panthers. On to the football team. Obvious starts: Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin. Sitting Taylor Heineke, not a fan of him in 1 QB leagues. Since week 5, he's only averaging 14.6. He's failed to throw for multiple scores since week 4. And he usually last year he was giving us a good rushing floor, but this year the last 3 games he's only top 15 rush yards in 2 of them. So not really giving you too much on the ground.
That sneaky rush and gone.
Yeah, and Carolina is also tough against opposing quarterbacks. They're allowing the 5th fewest points, so I feel like there's definitely better options for you than Taylor Heineke. The one game he did have over 15 rush yards is when he had that super long touchdown run, and he's not going to give you that every week, so don't like him this week.
Nope.
French player, J.D. McKissick, man. For him, I feel like it just depends on how you project this game is going to go. Like last week, everybody thought he was going to be a decent flex play at worst because they were playing the Buccaneers and we were expecting them to be trailing, but they came out there and they were leading pretty much the whole game. So it ended up being a Antonio Gibson game. So they're 3.5-point underdogs right now. So it just depends. Like if you expected them to be trailing, then I think that he is a solid flex play. But if if you think that they're going to keep it close, then Antonio Gibson is going to do what he did last year and be a workhorse pretty much. So he's a fringe player for me. And Logan Thomas and Ricky Seals-Jones is out, so I'm not looking to start any other tight ends out there. So it's pretty narrow for this game. That's all I got.
Gross.
It's a lot of low scoring games, a lot of under 45 point, like over under games this week. I noticed that. Wasting my money on this goddamn NFL ticket, tell you that. We got to pick them with the next game, Cincinnati at the Las Vegas Raiders with an over under 50.5 points. We got Cincy coming off the bye week. How do you feel about Cincinnati against Ohio, the Raiders?
Well, you're gonna be starting a lot of people in this game, man. Joe Burrow last week was his first time he hasn't thrown at least 2 touchdowns in a game. Burrow does have a 2-to-1 touchdown INT ratio on the year, so that's kind of worrying. But nevertheless, this is fantasy. We seen what Jameis Winston did when he threw for 30 for 30. All right, but back to Burrow. That hasn't stopped him from putting up QB1 numbers. Like I said, you start him every week. Joe Mixon is proven that the injury-prone curse is wrong. In him, he has scored at least. Right. I got him in a couple leagues. I just traded him for another league. So I need my bad Mixon. But he has scored at least 20 points in 4 of his 8 games this year. Not counting the game he got hurt. So you're starting this stud every week. The Raiders are allowing the 5th most points to running backs. Jamar Chase is a stud, man. He has scored under 10 points only 1 time this year. You start him every week, but temper expectations as the Raiders are allowing the 7 fewest points to the wide receivers. Higgins is averaging around 10 targets and 79 yards in the past 3 games. He has found his swagger. He's back on his field. He's getting open, making plays. So he is worth the flex play every week moving forward in this high-power offense. Boyd has been boom or bust player all year, and nothing's going to change. And it's not a great matchup this week, so I think you can sit Boyd. Derek Carr. He has scored at least 18 points in all of his start, except 2, and average at least 38 passes per game. That's a lot of opportunities to score points each week. And this week, he's playing the Bengals, who are allowing the 5th most points to quarterbacks. So you're starting Carr in all formats. Josh Jacobs is controlling most of the touches out of the backfield, including reception. He has put up great numbers. I mean, he hasn't put up great numbers, but he hasn't hurt you as well. This week, he has a great matchup against the Bengals, who are allowing the 6th most points to running backs. So, of course, you started him. Drake is hard to trust in this offense, and he's never really a safe play. Even with them allowing the most points, I don't think you can trust Drake. He's more of a desperate play. Hunter Renfrow is an every week flex play. He's seen around 9 targets and scored a TD in back-to-back weeks. The Bengals are allowing the 6th most points to wide receivers. So Renfrow is a must start in the flex or the wide receiver 3 position. Edwards is worth the start this week if you're in a pinch or need somebody. He's caught 3 of his 4 passes last week for 88 yards and a touchdown. One thing about him, he has yet to go over 100 yards or have yet to see 7 targets in a game. So that's worrying. That's why I just got him as no more than a flex play. Dan Waller hasn't had the monster games since week 1. Since week 1, he has averaged around 11 points per game on around 7 targets. This is not what we expected from him when we drafted him with that late 2nd, early 3rd round pick. But this week, it doesn't get any easier on him as the Bengals are allowing the 9th fewest points to tight ends, but you're still starting your stud Waller. That's pretty much it on that game.
Time again, I got to turn back around and tell you.
Bro, I swear I be hating when, like, when you've never had a player before and you finally get a chance to draft him, bro, and he decides that's the year that he wants to stink it up for fantasy, bro. Yes. Like in Brennan's Dynasty League, bro, I drafted him and I drafted AJ Brown for the first time, bro. And both of these guys are regular, bro. I'm like, this is not what I
AJ Brown's coming along though.
He is, but still, it's not no coming along. I want you to be a
Right,
stud like you've been doing for the last 2
yeah.
years, bro. Like, goddamn.
Goddamn.
They got his dynasty though, so it's okay.
Facts.
Other than that, though, I like it. Darren Waller need to step up, though. I do think Hunter Henry is saving a lot of people, mainly me.
Hunter Renfro. But Hunter Henry too. Hunter Henry
both of them. Hunter Renfro too.
And that regression hit for Hunter Henry too.
Yeah,
tell me about it.
Lockdown Falcons. I got offered Robbie Anderson and Ty Johnson for Brandon Edwards in my 16-man league. Thinking about accepting, considering the switch up at Carolina.
Hey, quarterback in Carolina. Got offered Robbie Anderson for Ty Johnson and Brian Edwards.
I don't mind that.
Am I getting?
I think.
I'll take that. I like Ty Johnson.
I think that's gonna be one of them. That's gonna be one of the trades where your league is like. Okay,
I guess so.
You know, if you see that trade alert, bro, you're like, oh, who's traded, bro? You gonna see this shit like, damn. Okay.
That's how I felt about that Michael Thomas and Brandon Cook shit y'all did. I was like, all right, whatever.
Well, I mean, that was a perfect dynasty trade, but
yeah, but it's like I ain't seen Michael Thomas in 2 years.
Oh well, no refunds.
Dallas at the 2.5-point favorite. You was done, right? That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas at Kansas City 2.5-point favorites, like Carlos mentioned. This is the game of the week. Over under 56 points. I think you start everybody that you can for both sides besides the Kansas City wide receivers, and that's so crazy that you can't start them besides the three. But there, Dak Prescott, of course, he's coming off that demolishing of the Falcons. You want to put him in. Zeke Elliott had 2 touchdown performance, save his day. He's only had over 51 yards rushing once in the last 4 games, but he has had 21 targets in that span. Even though he hasn't had over 50 yards receiving, but he's still getting the target, so you like to see that. Chiefs are allowed 95 yards on the ground and 6 rushing touchdowns since week 6. So I like him. Tony Pollard, I think he's flexible. He's he's gonna get those same. Hey, pause. Tony Pollard, he's still gonna get those 10 touches.
We're still talking about football here.
You can still put him in the flex position. Pause. CeeDee Lamb returned to the slot last week with Gallup returning, but now that Amari Cooper's out, he probably played a little bit more on the outside again. He caught 6 of his 7 targets, 2 touchdowns, 94 yards. I like him, of course, with Amari Cooper out. I had Michael Gallup as a fringe start, but when I wrote my notes, because that was Amari Cooper was playing, but with Amari Cooper out, I like him. Week 1, he saw 5 targets, caught 3. He saw 5 targets in this week back, caught 3 of them for 42 yards. That was against the Falcons. They were just working him back in. In this game, I think he'll have to get the ball thrown to him. I think he'll have to get some targets. So I think he has a good PPR floor. I don't think he'll kill you. And I had Dawson Schultz as a sit just because of the 2 target performance he had when Gallup was back. But since Amari Cooper is gone, they'll need to go somewhere. And the Chiefs are giving up the 7th most fantasy points to the tight end position since week 6. So I expect a shootout. I expect you to be able to start him comfortably. On the other side of the ball, of course, you're going to start Patrick Mahomes. He came back after what seemed to be like 1,000 years of bad games. It was only 3, really, when you look at it. He came back with some Patrick Mahomes shit, 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. So I like him in the shootout. Tyreek Hill, of course, you're going to play him. Travis Kelce, he hasn't been scoring the touchdowns, but he's still doing Travis Kelce things. I like him. Dallas haven't allowed many fantasy points to the tight end position, though. 8th, yeah, for sure. 8th fewest points since week 6, but I like him. For Kansas City, I got everybody else, and that's what I got for that game.
Yep, I like it, man. I really, 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 really hope that they do not, like, this is not one of those games where it fails to live up to expectations, bro. Like, yes, I want to see a shootout in a week where there's a lot of low over unders, bro. Please, Dallas and Kansas City, just give us something, please. But,
not an STD.
How about
I have Cooks?
How about did you mention CEH?
Oh, I didn't miss a CEH. I didn't even miss a CEH. Yeah,
so
I think if he plays, I start him and not Darrell Williams.
Okay. Yeah, it's gonna be tricky for me.
I don't know if I start him either, though. I don't know. I think I just wait it out. I might wait it, but you can't now with all the running backs being hurt. It's not. You can't really wait it out.
I would have to start CH if he plays, hoping he doesn't play, just so Darrell Williams.
You've been waiting on him. Yeah, you've been waiting on him to start at this point.
Yeah, I mean, Darrell Williams is already vulturing the goal line work, and they've been using him like a motherfucker out of the backfield, like as a receiver too. So I feel like he will be relevant. He just becomes more of a desperation flex play if CH does play. But of course, he's a smash play if CH does sit again.
Mm-hmm. We got that one question before we get there. I have Cooks over Mclaurin this week, but which one do y'all prefer for the rest of the season? Assuming Tyrod Taylor. I got Cooks over Mclaurin this week, but I mean, for the rest of the season, I would have to look at it. But I probably Mclaurin.
Yeah, I probably would.
Just the upside.
I'm just have to. Yeah, I have to got talent right there, man.
I think they'll finish around the same spot, though. I don't think it'll be like too crazy.
In the playoffs, in the playoffs round week 16, Brandon Cooks got to see the Chargers and then San Francisco.
Yeah,
which is a good matchup.
You gotta get past the Chargers first.
San Fran, yeah.
But yeah, I probably like Terry McLaurin the rest of the season. I wouldn't make any trades or anything like that, but if it's just my opinion.
McLaurin got Dallas, then Philly.
About the same. See, about the same. We got to pick them in the next game. Arizona Cardinals at the Seattle Seahawks with an over under 48 points. So this is another kind of high scoring game.
You got.
Last question. I traded Justin Herbert, Cordell Patterson, and Amari Cooper after he dropped 24 week 8 for Tannehill, Zeke, and Cooks. Which trio scores better throughout the playoffs? Well, shit, Cordell Patterson might not be playing. I don't know.
No, he should be
playoffs.
Oh, the playoffs for
playoffs.
Oh, I thought I don't know why I was thinking that.
I think I might have to go with.
That's almost even, bro. Like, sheesh. Probably, I probably would take the Tannehill side.
It's more upside there. I feel like
they have been passing a little more lately with after the Henry injury. Zeke's always going to have them scoring opportunities. Cooks, of course, he has that high floor. So,
what's the week? Week one of the playoffs is 15, right?
15, yeah.
And so Tannehill will play the Steelers that week. And who was the other quarterback?
Herbert.
Herbert would play
Houston and then somebody.
Yeah, Herbert would play Kansas City week 15. I like that. And then he'll play Houston. I would probably go the quarterback side at that point. So I like Herbert's matchups throughout the playoffs more than I like Tannehill's. I probably like Zeke's more.
It's just really a preference. That's not really a bad trade either way.
I like the I think I probably like the Herbert side.
I feel like the Herbert side got more, chances for upside plays.
Mm-hmm.
But the other side is safe too. You're not gonna lose your games. You have to get your guy trade, which
Russell Wilson, man, they put up that 0 burger last week as a team. How you feel about Russell Wilson now going up against Arizona, possibly with Kyler Murray being back?
Yeah, so he's actually a fringe player for me. Like you said, he returned from injury last week, and by the looks of it, he returned a little too early. He just did not look like Russell Wilson out there.
And he
threw the ball 40 times. Yeah, you said what? He didn't practice.
And he didn't practice all last week, so
that's to take off that, to be out for 5 weeks and then not practice leading up to it. Yeah, that was kind of a recipe for disaster. But like I said, he threw 40 times, only came away with 20 completions for 161 yards, no touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Russ probably played a factor in his performance, but I feel like you got to be worried about him this week, especially with the matchup. Arizona is allowing the 4th fewest points to the position. And then you have Carroll mentioning how they need to run the ball more. He mentioned something about them averaging over 4 yards a carry and that they need to run the ball more. So we saw that happen last year when, Russ was cooking. They just changed the whole game plan up. So with their backs against the wall, fighting for a playoff spot, man, I could definitely see Carroll reverting back to that. So definitely worrisome. So, I mean, it depends on your options, but I would try to avoid in one QB leagues. We can go through some names, really, if y'all want. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Wilson or Derek Carr?
Derek Carr.
Mm-hmm. Derek Carr.
I think I like that too.
Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins?
Or Kirk Cousins?
Kirk Cousins.
I think I go Wilson there. That's a good one. I'll probably go Kirk Cousins there.
Yeah, just safer.
Yeah, until I see Russ. Cook.
Yeah, one more Russell Wilson or Cam Newton.
I'm just going Cam.
I'm not a fan. I just don't. I like Cam just because this week he has a good matchup, but I'm not the biggest Cam fan.
You don't like him?
I like him in real life. I like him in real life. I mean,
just as a person, he's gonna have that rushing floor.
I mean,
but that's what we ignoring the fact that he's gonna rush the ball, bro. He was horrible last year as a passer, bro, but he still had QB1 weeks with nobody out there with the Patriots. So I'm cool with Cam this week and going forward. And it's not because of passing, it's because he's gonna rush so much. So, but I would probably start Russell Wilson there. Or no, I'll probably start Cam right there too. It's just I gotta see Russell Wilson have a good game before I trust him again.
Yep.
I know it's gonna come, but I just don't want to be stuck with 5 points in my lineup again. With
that shit is horrible. Like it feels like these quarterbacks have been killing us, man.
Yeah, man, for real.
Oh, you wasn't even done. My bad, bro.
No, you good. I'm starting BK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett. They didn't have good games, but they both had 8 targets last week. So, I think they led the league in like air yards, intended air yards last week. So hopefully that rust is a little knocked off by now for Russell Wilson and they can have better games. Gerald Everett, I'm sitting. He did see a season high 8 targets last week, caught all of them for 63 yards, which was great to see. But most of that production came in garbage time on the last couple of drives, and Arizona is pretty stout against tight ends, averaging or allowing the third fewest points to the position. So there should be better options for you this week. I already talked about Wilson. Alex Collins is another fringe play. Hasn't been very efficient since taking over for Carson, but he's getting all the volume. Since he's become the starter, he's handled 70% of the running back carries for Seattle, only averaging 7.8 half PPR points. But, this kind of goes back to what Carroll said. Like, if they're going to run the ball a lot, man, then Alex Collins is going to continue to, to be the workhorse out there. So, not going to give you a ceiling. I think his high is like freaking, like 10 points to 11 points. When he had a touchdown. He had a touchdown that game, yeah. So he's really going to need a touchdown for him to be like, to finish in that RB2 range. But without that, he's going to finish in that RB3 range. So, just depends on what you're looking for, or if you just need a body out there that's going to get work, he will do that. On to Arizona. Obvious starts Kyler Murray if he plays, of course. James Conner, especially if Kyler Murray plays, but even if he doesn't, I'm still starting James Conner because of the volume. Christian Kirk is a start for me. Since week 5, he's averaging 6 targets, 60 yards a game. He's ran the most routes since that time and is the wide receiver 16, averaging 11 half PPR points in that span. And he has the best primary matchup for Arizona. He's going against Ugo Amadi out of the slot, and he has a PFF grade of 53 and allowing an 85% catch rate. So firing him up as a wide receiver 2, more of a wide receiver 3 if Collar does sit again. Zach Ertz, also starting him. He's third on the team in routes run, second in targets behind Kirk since joining the team in week 5. Of course, he's only found the end zone once since joining the team. Yeah, but 2 of those games were without Murray, so they didn't get a lot of scoring opportunities when when he was out. So not too worried about that. But the usage is what's encouraging for him. So I'm continuing to roll him out as a back end tight end 1. And Seattle's allowing the 10th most points to tight end. So matchup isn't bad at all for him. Fringe play, AJ Green. Matchup isn't the best, but with Hopkins out, he's going to see a lot of volume. In week 8 against Green Bay, he saw a season high 8 targets. and that was the game where Hopkins re-aggravated his hamstring. So he should see similar volume this week. So he'll be a middling flex play for me, and starting him depends on your other options.
Let's go with some options right quick. In a flex, so let's go Deontay Foreman or AJ Green.
I'll probably go Foreman with
guaranteed carry.
McNeil's out.
Bless me. Yeah.
You say bless me? He didn't bless himself.
Oh, man. That's it.
Yep.
I like it. Woo with me, man.
Wait, where do you have that dilemma at?
I don't know. I appreciate you for swinging through. Woo with me. Make sure you like and subscribe, man, so you can get all your questions into the boys. What y'all think about in a PPR league? But
yeah, no trouble with that, eh?
I'm trying to figure out what word, what like.
But I'm reading. I was trying to read. I was paraphrasing. What y'all think about Elliott for David Montgomery and Adam Thielen, man? You got tongue time, y'all. You try to embarrass me on here. David Montgomery and I like the Montgomery and Thielen side.
It's if you need a receiver, if you don't really,
that's what I come
to. Receiver, I'll probably just if you're getting Thielen gonna sit on your bench. I would just
no. Yeah, but
if you're getting Thielen gonna start in your lineup, and David Montgomery gonna start in your lineup, then yeah, that's the only way.
Mm-hmm. Appreciate the question, bro. Greg, I can't even pronounce that. Appreciate you. Make sure you subscribe, bro. Like we're at 200. Start to Foreman, Collins, Beasley, Devonta Smith. Foreman and Devonta Smith for me.
Foreman, and it is close with Beasley and Devonta Smith just because of that matchup for Devonta Smith against Lattimore. We talked about that last show about them averaging 18 throws a game for the last 3. So, but then you got Beasley injury. So I don't know how much he'll be used, man. Yeah, just because of the injury, man. I'm gonna echo Gabe here and go Foreman and Devonta Smith.
I agree.
Echo. On to the next game. Is this Sunday Night Football? I've been waiting all day for Sunday night. Your boys are gonna. Is it a good game? Yes, it probably will be. I don't know if Big Ben is playing, but we gonna find out. NFL hitters come to play. Yeah. The Pittsburgh Steelers. I'll be trying to ad lib and shit. You know what I'm saying? Just try to put it in the game shit, like how the girl be doing on the TV.
Yeah. You killed it, bro. Like, sheesh.
The Pittsburgh Steelers at the 5.5 point Chargers.
I think you got a new thing to do on TikTok now.
Over under of 47 points.
Okay. Well, you got Pittsburgh. You don't know if I guess Big Ben is going to start.
Well, but they're pretty much planning for him to start, but it's not confirmed yet.
Yeah.
Right. But whoever start, they're not going to be starting in anybody lineup unless they're desperate. The Chargers are allowing the second fewest points to quarterbacks at the moment. So you definitely pivot in there. You got Najee Harris, who is a stud already. He has scored at least 16 points in PPR league in all of his games except one. So you starting this stud this week. Even he has a great matchup against the Chargers, who are allowing the 8th most points to running backs. So that's also encouraging. Deontay Johnson is averaging around 10 targets per game and 77 yards per game this year. With that volume, he is a must start each week, but temper expectations a little as the Chargers are allowing the second fewest points to wide receivers. Claypool has been struggling with injuries and quarterback play. It hasn't looked well for him. I don't expect things to get better this week with the matchup. So I have Claypool as a fringe flex play right now until we just see some production. Big Ben arm is not that good, so you can't get it down the field for Claypool to make those big plays. So I'm kind of worried. At tight end, we got my boy Pat. I ain't naming his last name. In the last 4 games, he has averaged 7 targets for 44 yards and scored 3 touchdowns in that span. His streak of scoring TDs in consecutive games ended last week with Big Ben out as quarterback. But Ben should be back, and the Chargers are allowing the 12th most points to tight ends. He is worth the start in most leagues as one of Big Ben's favorite red zone targets. On to the other side of the football, we got Justin Herbert, who has had 3 games scoring around 15 points or less and 3 games scoring around 35 points or more. The Steelers are allowing the 9th fewest points to quarterbacks. Herbert's ceiling is high. It's so high that you have to start him every week and just live with the results. Eckler is a must start every week. He is running back 3 of the year. He does have a tough matchup against the Steelers, who are allowing the 3rd fewest points to running backs in PPR leagues. But you start him every week because he's heavily targeted in the passing game each week. Keenan Allen has gone only 3 games without seeing double-digit targets. He's a must start each week, no matter the matchup. Williams is struggling. He continued to struggle. He has gone 4 consecutive games without scoring 8 points in PPR leagues or going over 60 yards. It's another week where he has a great matchup against the Steelers, allowing the 9th most points to wide receivers. At this point, Williams is just worth the flex play. Not even a wide receiver 3 play. He's just a flex play at this point. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I don't like Williams. I think we said last week that if he went out there with that bullshit again, I wouldn't start him. So yeah, I'm not starting Williams.
You got the same feeling for Herbert?
Justin Herbert?
Yeah.
The Justin Herbert? No, I don't have that feeling.
Why not? Because
all the quarterbacks were sorry.
Huh?
Because all quarterbacks were sorry.
He's done it multiple weeks. He's put up like 14 or fewer points in like 3 of his last 5, right?
Right. Yeah. 3 of his last.
His ADI is super low, bro. They're like literally they're treating him like a dink and dunk passer, bro. So I think it's a little bit of correlation between the 2 guys, bro. I don't think it's just Mike Williams out there. I do think he's a little bit banged up still, but I saw like a stat where he was getting open on I think he got open like a 70% of his man coverage last week, and they're just not taking the shots like they were in the beginning of the year. It's just a game plan with them. So I do agree you have to adjust expectations for it, but I just think it's more so of like the whole game plan thing. I don't think Mike Williams just fell off or anything like that.
So you're not starting Justin Herbert either?
I'm starting both of them. Especially this week too, bro, because Steelers are down a lot of key players. I think TJ Watt's out. Fitzpatrick is out. It's another guy that's out in the secondary. So I'm still starting this week, but I'm adjusting expectations on both of them, bro, because they're just not airing it out like we saw them in the beginning of the year. So
yep,
that's how I feel about them.
That's it for that game.
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you ready for some football? Monday night party. Yeah. The Giants are at Tampa Bay, 11.5-point favorite. Tampa Bay, 50-point over under. We got New York Giants starts. Saquon Barkley. All signs show that he's expected to play Monday. Bless me. Before the week 5 injury, he's posted 2 games with 2 games in week 3 and week 4 with at least 90 all-purpose yards. He had 2 touchdowns in that span, so he was on the way back to being Barkley. And it was just a little ankle sprain, so I don't think that will like hinder him from being good. Like we see clips of him jump cutting and stuff like that at practice. So if he is back to himself, I think he could be a league winner. I know a lot of people went out and bought low on him. I bought low on him in a couple places. So we are just hoping that Saquon Barkley do what Saquon Barkley's supposed to do. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are allowing on average 5 receptions out of the backfield to running backs. So if Saquon Barkley is back, he did see 7 targets and 6 targets in week 6 and 7 respectively. So I think, all systems go for Saquon. I like it. We got some sits, man. I might be against popular belief, but I got sit Kadarius Toney and sit Kenny Golladay. They both officially been removed from the injury reserve list, but after that big 13 target splash for Kadarius Toney in week 5, of course he has been dealing with the injury, but he's only had 9 targets over the last 3 weeks, and he hasn't found the end zone. He does have a rough matchup this week against Mike Edwards, who's graded a 68 by PFF, and PFF is allowing the fewest fantasy points to the wide receiver position in the league since week 6. So that just makes it hard for me to trust him coming back, especially on the Monday night game. Kenny Galladay, pretty much the same. He hasn't been fantasy relevant at all this year, though. So I really can't trust him. He has a even harder matchup against Jamel Dean. And I also want to sit Danny Dimes. He hasn't really been startable since that concussion. I guess he forgot to run. You know what I'm saying? I guess that was a side effect from the concussion. Weeks 1 through 4, he had over 25 yards, 4 games, all of those games, and a high of 95 yards. That big Lamar Jackson game that he had over the last 4 games, he's only had over 25 yards rushing 1 time. And Tampa Bay is around the middle of the pack and allowing quarterback fantasy points. So I don't like him. Also, on the other side of the ball, start Tom Brady, 4 interceptions in the last 2 weeks. Either the world is spinning backwards or we're probably like in a matrix or some shit like that. But I do think Tom Brady bounced back against the Giants. The Giants aren't a cupcake defense. You know, I know a lot of people see the Giants as probably something soft, but the Giants are allowing the 8th fewest fantasy points to the quarterback position since week 6. But I'm still starting to go Leonard Fournette. He has had 2 subpar weeks scoring wise, but he's still the number 13 running back in PPR leagues. The biggest thing that we are seeing is that him getting the consistency in targets, 24 targets since week 6. The Giants are allowing 92 yards on the ground since week 6, and the 6th most fantasy. I mean, not the 6th most fantasy points, but the 6th most receiving yards to running backs in that span also. So I do like Leonard Fournette this game. Mike Evans, of course, he's an every week start. He does have a tough matchup, but with the 50-point over under, I do like him. He's tied for second in the league with touchdowns. So if anything, hopefully he scores a touchdown like he did against the Marshawn Lattimore, and he just, you know what I'm saying, right off into the sunset with that. Chris Godwin is the most targeted buck on the team, though. 2 double-digit target games in the last 4. Of course, we're starting him. He has a great matchup. And Rob Gronkowski is expected to be back from the rib injury. I have him as a start. I know the fantasy community has been waiting on his turn, so it's not on his return, so you really can't sit him. So I'm not going to tell you to sit him. I do want to temper your expectations. The Giants have allowed the fewest fantasy points to the tight end position since week 6, and they haven't allowed a touchdown in that span, and they're giving up around only 41 yards per game to that position. So I know you're going to start him just because you've been waiting to start him. So, you know what I mean? It's probably like the CH thing. You can't really sit me. And Miles Sanders, pretty much. I've been waiting on Miles Sanders. So if he plays, I'm going to play him. And Antonio Brown, I don't think he plays because he hasn't been at practice. But he still has one more day because they play on Monday. So just keep your eyes on the prize for him. That's all I got.
Yeah, Gronk, man, I would be a little worried from him because remember the last game he tried to come back, he played 1 snap and left, bro. So that would be horrible if that happens again. Hopefully that doesn't happen, but that's just something to be aware of. And yeah, I agree with you about the Tony thing, man. I would probably be okay starting Galladay because he was seeing decent volume when he was playing.
Yeah.
Tony, on the other hand, man, he had that great game when literally everybody was out. So probably the most talented receiver out there, but they're not using him like that. So
I just think only because Galladay will have the harder matchup against that Buccaneer defense. That's why I can't trust. Jamel Dean is allowing only 50% catch rate on the year. So, sheesh. So, and he's a top 24 corner in according to PFF, top 25. So yeah, I don't like him this week. But yep, that's all I got, man. Been a great one. You know what I'm saying? Damn, bro. I think next week is the last week of the session takeover. So if y'all been on the lookout for that, we'll probably, try to do some kind of let you know where you at next week. So going into week 12, you know where you stand. Appreciate everybody for coming through, asking your questions. Hopefully everybody like to subscribe. Gang. On
Good luck, week 11.
I don't think I played any of y'all this week. Let me find the outro button. I don't think so. All right, we out. Peace.
Fantasy, it's session.